I was in Webster Hall last night in the green room. I don't know how many other people were there at the show there last night. Okay. And I was looking around the room at all of these incredible artists and musicians and just all this talent, basically. And the thought went through my mind, I will never see the fullest potential of all of these artists. The world will never experience the full brilliance of their gift. Even if we think that this is whatever is the greatest album that you can think of right now, even that wasn't the fullest potential of that person who did the album. Right. So I couldn't help but to think that wellness, it has to become a movement. And artists in particular, and as Casa was speaking to, they're almost like they're practicing it without really knowing it, because the same way that they approach their artistry, the same way that you sit down and write your music, it's a practice, and that's what makes you better when you practice it. So as it pertains to wellness, why don't we do the same thing? Why don't we approach that the same way? And if an artist already has the discipline and the fortitude and the energy to put into their craft, to not see wellness separate from that craft and put the same effort towards the wellness. So learn meditation, learn about medicines, go travel and learn these things the same way you would travel and go do a gig. So I think once we can see the synergy between wellness and what we're doing, because we don't oftentimes, as artists, we don't oftentimes think about wellness. We're just doing our craft, but the same approach. And everyone can't play an instrument. Everyone can't sing really good. So for those that can, it's a gift. And that gift is meant to be shared. And why share just a little bit of that gift? You have little impact. But to have the greatest benefit of that gift, the spirit must be cultivated. The spirit of the artist must be cultivated. I hear in some conversations it's surrounding more mental health and physical health, but there's a spiritual piece that is hardly discussed. And that is the foundation that affects the other two. So it's like a trinity. And I think as artists begin to see that this trinity, they all go together, it creates the balance. And that's how we move beyond the traumas. You know, some of us are still walking around traumatized from being born. And when we first came out, it was traumatizing. And many of us are still dealing with that trauma right now without even realizing it. So, no, you're not gonna get my fullest potential if I'm still dealing with trauma from my birth and it hasn't been addressed. I think that's the direction that artists are now starting to, because they are starting to talk more about it openly, and I think that's the direction that they're going, and that's why I think that's important.